What's up, everyone? My name is John Divon, aka The Foundation, and I would like to thank you for watching this video. Just hit 3,000 subscribers on YouTube and hope to get 10,000 within the next couple years. So thank you to everyone who is subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting on the videos. This video is about me getting a boot on my car for the first time here in Colorado. I woke up and went to a baptism of a friend early in the morning. After the baptism, my girlfriend and I went to the apartment complex, Outlook Littleton, where we parked in the guest visitor parking. After the event, I helped the family bring the remaining food items into the home, and we hung out for a few hours, and we left between 10 and 11 p.m. And when I got to the car, I had the end of such a wonderful day ruined by seeing a boot placed on my front left tire. And I checked the signs to see what was going on, and that's when I saw a small arrow pointing to the right of the guest parking sign. And I had to go through the whole process, which is ugly, which is very ugly, and it has been very frustrating for me. I've left a couple Yelp reviews on the apartment Outlook Littleton and the company who placed the boot on my car, Park It Right. Both of those reviews were taken down. The apartment review said, or Yelp said, I couldn't leave the apartment review because I was not a resident at the apartment. Well, I wish that I could not get a $325 ticket because I was not a resident of the apartment. If I can get a ticket on the property, I should be able to leave a Yelp review of the property. I've put together a video showing the layout, and I believe that the signs are not clear. They're a bit misleading. Other reasons that make me feel this way is that a high number of boots are put on vehicles weekly at this apartment building. My friend lives there. My friend just had a boot put on her car there, right when she moved in. She moved in. She didn't put the parking pass on her car, just not right away, and immediately got a boot put on her car. And it was at a time where she did not have the funds to pay for getting the boot off. So she had a boot on her car for a week or two. And it really saddens me that this can happen. So enjoy this video that I put together. Let me know if you feel the same way. There's probably some people watching this video that also got a boot put on their car from the same apartment building, and I'm with you. I have read many of the comments. I have put together a collection of the comments from Outlook Littleton, and I have put together a collection of the comments from Park It Right, so you can check them out for yourself. So on this side, it says permit parking. So all of these cars here are permit parking. And then over here, it says permit parking here. There's the permit parking there. So everything back there is permit parking. And then over here, it says guest parking, and then all of these spots here are guest parking. There's another sign right there. Guest parking left and right. And there's a dog park here. And it looks like from there to there is guest parking. 1, 2. And then over this way, there's another permit parking sign. And over there, there's also a permit parking sign. So let you know that everything that way is all permit parking. And I parked in one of these 4 spots that looks like it's connected with this whole row of guest parking. And when I came to my car here, I had a boot on it, and I thought I was parking in guest parking, and I had to find out that what I thought was guest parking was everything to the right of this arrow. So that was confusing. So I parked not to the right of this arrow, but when you come over here on these 4 spots, there's no sign that has any kind of boom permit parking right here for these 4 spots. So these 4 spots I feel should have been indicated better that they're permit parking only, and I feel like these 4 spots are somewhat of a trap. I think they should also have a sign next to the permit parking that says that they will give you a boot for $325 if you park there too. They should definitely warn you about that. So at 11 p.m. I get the boot put on my car, or it was put on my car earlier. I find the boot put on my car at 11 p.m. And I'm frustrated, and I feel that I was misled a little bit by the guest parking sign because there was a small arrow pointing to the right. I saw the first 2 guest parking signs, and it looked like this whole stack of parking spots was all the guest parking area. But these 4 spots on the left were the residence parking, and I feel that they should have had a residence sign right there to be clear. So I see the guest parking sign, right? And I look at it after I got the boot put on my car, and I see the small arrow underneath it pointing to the right. And I'm thinking, that's horrible. Because I specifically tried to park in the guest parking. It was not a situation where I was just parking in a residence spot because there was no other spots. I wasn't parking in a residence spot because I saw the rules and decided to disobey them. I specifically tried to park in guest parking, and I thought I was parking in guest parking because of the guest parking signs. The first one said everything to the left. I was everything to the left. The second one just said guest parking. So I parked in that spot that was to the left, and there was no sign there that said permit parking. To the left of those 4 spots, there's a permit parking sign and another permit parking sign. And it seemed that everything behind those signs was permit parking. So in my heart, in my mind, in my soul, in my everything, I thought I was parking in a guest parking spot. Just as I am sure, without a doubt, that many other people have felt the same exact way. When you see this video, the red truck that's parked where I was parked in the past, I shot the video during the daytime. When I came out to my car at nighttime, after visiting a week later after getting the boot, I saw a boot on the red truck, and I thought, You were parked where I was parked a week ago, and I bet you thought you were parking in a guest parking spot. There should be a sign right there that says permit parking only for those 4 spots specifically. In addition to that, I think there should be a sign up somewhere that says if you are not parked in a resident spot, you will get a boot put on your car. There should be a boot warning. There is no boot warning on the premises. That's misleading. If Outlook Littleton really did care about outsiders taking the residents' parking spots, they would put better signs up to keep people from parking in the resident parking spots. That's why I believe while they attempt to say, hey, the reason why we're putting these boots on the cars is because it's an easier way than towing the cars, and it's a way to keep people from not parking in the resident spots. Well, people are still parking in the resident spots. They're just getting a boot with a $325 bill. All right, the following is just a few of the comments online about Outlook Littleton and the boot company Park It Right. Worst experience of my life. Do not rent here. Their management sucks. They have contracts with the towing company where they boot people's vehicles to earn revenue. They say they have 1 parking space per person, but that's a lie. They don't care about their residents at all. Looks high class from outside, but a nightmare to live at. Unless you live here, don't park here. They boot people all the time and have a lot of unmarked spots that look like guest parking, in which they boot you and charge you $150. They have signs that say, the whole property is permit parking, and that is how they justify this. There is no give on this, and it seems like the boot company and the apartment company are both profiting from this setup. You have been warned. Thank me later. Great apartment complex with amazing amenities, but the parking situation is an unfortunate one. There are approximately 20 visitor parking spots for the entirety of the complex, and they have no plans to add more. They also give out more parking permits than there are parking spots, so there is no guarantee there will be a spot available even if you have a parking permit. Customer service for the parking enforcement company is insanely rude. They hung up on me twice and threatened to increase the booting cost, which is already $200 with a $120 holding deposit, because I was being uncooperative. Not to mention the booting cost seems to be completely arbitrary. I've talked to other tenants who had their cars booted, and the fee ranged from $200 to $400. The company seemed downright extortive in this regard, and the owner of the vehicle was concerned she was being scammed. So she called the police, who said they get calls regarding this company all the time and described them uncooperative and rude. Outlook representatives seemed to agree with this assessment, and they rationalized this by claiming that they are the most inexpensive choice and suggests that if I find something better, to let them know. Outlook Littleton is a beautiful, inclusive place to live that really needs to evaluate its parking enforcement contract with this admittedly terrible company. Don't plan on having any visitor unless you plan to ask them to park across the street and sprint across Mineral or throw away $400. I came to visit a family member, but in the future, I'm going to ask her to visit me due to the parking situation at Outlook. I will likely not come back unless circumstances force me. This apartment complex pays a company to boot your vehicle when they see fit. Our son was visiting a friend that lives there. His car was parked at the clubhouse for an hour and a half, and they booted it. Now they want $350 to remove the boot. Read all the reviews for Park It Right. They are not a pleasant company to deal with. Think twice before moving into this apartment complex. If you don't live here, Don't plan on coming to the parking lot after 10. Had I expected to pay a $320 invoice for a boot on my car because I was visiting a friend, I would have stayed home. The Park It Right team doesn't even give a warning. Just a $300 boot. At least extend the curfew for non-residents till midnight. The parking problems here are the worst. You pay way too much in rent and no parking place. Every day when you come home is a gamble for a parking spot. Here's an idea. Let's do an assigned parking spot for everyone, and when you run out of parking places, you stop renting apartments. You will never do that. Now will you? Please respond. Terrible experience. Parking is a mess. I would not recommend this place to anybody. This might be typical, but if you have a guest over without permission, they will get a boot on their car and a $350 bill to get it removed, which, by the way, the management failed to communicate. This is all due lack of planning and poor design, which now the tenants have to pay and suffer for. There are better options out there, folks. Please do your homework before considering moving into this complex. It is small, unkept, and poorly managed. First of all, parking is ridiculous. If you want to live in an apartment complex that has no respect or care for their inhabitants, then this is the place for you. They will boot your guest's car even if they are using your parking pass. Parking is a nightmare. They give no grace and put a boot on my car the first time I visited. I was told to park in visiting parking only, which there is not a lot of. After driving around for 10 minutes looking for a visiting spot, I finally parked. In the morning, I came out to a boot on my car. The fine was $330. Here is where they get you. $145, remote release. $175, remote release deposit. $10 convenience fee. I tried to dispute it since I was new to the area. They say that they use a third party, so there was no way to reimburse. Very unhappy with the service I received here with the third party. I had to pay $330, and for the leasing office having no grace or way to help out. Worst apartment complex. Horrendous parking. Your visitors will never have a spot, and sometimes even you. The tenant won't have a parking spot. Awful customer service. The employees clearly do not care about the tenants and are zero help. Idiotic payment system they have set up, and you will pay hundreds of dollars in hidden bullshit fees, cheap appliances, and everything. I am a current resident and can't wait until my lease is up. If you have any friends who come to visit, do not lease here. There are only 14 visitor parking spots for the entire complex. During the holidays, my family came to visit from out of state. 8 of the 14 visitor spots were taken by residents. My family got booted as they parked in a regular spot. The leasing office wouldn't do anything, and I called the regional office on December 27th and still haven't received a call back. I live near the guest parking area, and every night over half the spaces are filled with residents. The complex should assign parking spots and have guest parking passes. Again, if you are planning on having people come visit you, this is not the place to live. Now the $325 bill. So I get my boot. I find out that I've been kind of suckered into getting this boot. Like, you tricked me, Outlook Littleton, with that sign. Get some better signs. Now what do? There's also a sticker on my car window, almost filling up my driver's side window. Making it look like I just hit a pedestrian. This is extreme measures for parking. I would be thinking at the very maximum, you get a street sweep type of ticket on your car if you park there. That's the way that it should be done. Then people can leave. There's a boot put on my car. If I don't have the $325 to pay it, my car's going to stay in this spot for a long time, thereby taking up residents' parking spots.
These people are scam artists, guided as a parking violations company. When Denver boots you, it's a $100 fine. Catch a boot from these scumbags, and you're looking at $325. Wow. Super stellar customer service. Bethany. We politely called to get the code to get our boot removed that we paid around $400 for because there was no guest parking available, might I add, due to the poor instruction on where to return and how to lock up the boot. At the return station, we had to call back for clarification due to confusion and lack of communication. We didn't want to lock it up incorrectly and be charged. During this conversation, we were yelled at, threatened, and then hung up on by Bethany. Sad because we were just confused due to her lack of instruction and just trying to do the right thing. We'll be making formal complaints to our apartment complex who uses your company, as I have the conversation recorded, and it was completely unprofessional for no reason. Horrible company. Booted me for a reason that has a 24-hour warning, according to their signage. After being there to unload groceries for 20 minutes with my flashers on and keys in the ignition, when I contacted the president, he said I was in a fire lane. Nothing marked for fire lane on the property. And the receipt reads double parked, blocked access. If you're thinking of using this company to manage your parking, don't. It will cause you to lose residents. Very poor customer service continued. The owner's lies and is very rude. Unbelievable. The worst customer service I have ever experienced. I reside at Camden Cayley Apartments. In the Park It Right, Arvada put a boot on my car because the management at my complex failed to give me the correct tag. I proceeded to pay the $300 fee to get the boot removed, and I spoke with Shelley. For some reason, my card got declined 3 times, or so she said, and she refused to take the boot off. Knowing I have money in my bank account, I went to check it online and noticed I had $900 pending charges from Park It Right. I was then very frustrated because I had paid them 3 times, and they were still refusing to remove the boot from my car. I called Shelley back, and that is when she accused me of using a fake debit card and called me a crook. I then had my father call up there and to try to mediate the situation, and Shelley cussed him out and hung up on him. I next went and talked to my apartment complex about these issues, and they tried to call and also could not get it resolved. The communication and customer service from Park It Right was so unprofessional and alarming. I feel bad for whoever the owner is. I am now waiting on someone to come remove the boot from my car for an extra $50. He was supposed to be here at 2 p.m., and it is now 3:30. This has been the most upsetting and frustrating situation, and ridiculous that these people are this unprofessional at what they do. I don't care what business you are in. You do not have to talk to and treat people like crap. I'm also 100% sure that if Shelley had a boot on her car at her residence, that she would have been frustrated too. While I totally understand that these people are going to get a lot of low reviews because people are upset, it's a booting company. It's one thing to enforce parking laws, it's another to be outright rude. That's why I'm giving 1 star. You can even tell by the owner's responses on here calling people out for their violations how much he really thinks of the world. The woman I dealt with was incredibly nasty from the start. Must have already been having a bad night. But wow, no need for her level of unprofessional communication. It is a frustrating job, I'm sure, but no need to yell at me on the phone. I can't believe the owner is getting on here and battling people. Wouldn't be surprised if this place went under in a few years. Based solely on their horrible customer service and complete disregard for common courtesy, I shall give you 1 star, which is actually a lot nicer than you deserve. I called to ask questions about my friend's vehicle who had just been booted. I was not rude, condescending, or unreasonable in any of my questions. Since I have been in customer service for a very long time, I understand that people can suck really bad, so I try to approach every situation with kindness. I understand when people ask the same questions over and over again, it can be frustrating and infuriating. But again, you have to put yourself in the be the bigger person mentality. Now, with that being said, the manager/owner I had the displeasure of speaking with was probably the rudest person I have ever come across. And again, I work in customer service, so that's saying a lot. In the midst of me wanting to get clarification as to their policy, I was hit with, "I don't understand what is so difficult about this. How old are you? Did you ever go to school? I have a business to run and you're sitting here wasting my time." When I asked to speak with the owner, she said, "Guess what? I am the owner. You can't do shit." I was completely appalled by what this woman was saying to me. Never, ever, ever in my life has anybody, especially a manager/owner, ever spoken to me this way while I was being completely polite and trying to ask a question. I hope that potential businesses or business owners trying to search out boot/towing vendors to service their properties read this and understand that being associated with these people would be a horrible idea. Your residents or customers having to deal with Park It Right even when in the wrong will be spoken to with zero respect or courtesy. I hope this message reaches the incredibly rude and nasty person I spoke to today. Courteous treatment will make a customer a walking advertisement. Imagine what the opposite will do. If there's an option for a negative star, I would give that to them. False accusations, unorganized. They had the gut to tell the person that hired them that she has no authority to tell them who they should put a boot on. They screen calls. I called them with another number and said that if they don't pick up, we will have a major lawsuit. That was when they texted back right away. We will proceed with the lawsuit anyways. See ya in court.
Okay, so boots on my car. I find out that I've been bamboozled, tricked, duped into this boot on my car. There's a sign on my window with the phone number to call. So I call the phone number, explain the situation. At this time, they asked me for my name, my home address, my email, all sorts of personal information where I'm thinking, how come you don't know this? If you were the police and you gave me a ticket, you would have all this information, but you're not the police. You're some third-rate criminal party, in my opinion. And in order for me to get this boot off my car, I'm being forced to give you this information. And then after and I did not really enjoy talking to the person on the phone. I felt that they were very rude. After this, Then they send you an email where you can pay $325 to get the 4-digit combination for the lock that's on the boot. So I paid $325 with my credit card, which luckily I have. If I didn't have that, it makes me sick to think, what if that was your grandma or your sister or your cousin, your niece, a family member, and they're out there at 11 p.m. and they got a boot on their car, and they don't have the residence that they were visiting ended up leaving, and now they're stuck out there with the boot. Like, it can be just such an ugly situation to possibly put somebody in. So I paid the $325 with my credit card, and then I have to wait about for 15-20 minutes. Then they process it, and they give me a phone number to call, and they say, call it when you get back to your car. So I get back to the car, call the phone number, and someone's walking me through how to take this boot off. I have to take the boot off, right? You guys put a boot on my car, and now I have to take the boot off of my car. And it was really horrendous because there's a 4-digit code, and they're not even telling me the 4-digit code. They're saying the 4-digit code above the line, which I'm thinking maybe they're saying that so I don't remember the 4-digit code, so I don't come back later and steal your boot. Why don't you just give me the 4-digit code? She's giving me the 4-digit code above the line, so I'm trying to do a 4-digit code above this line, which was really awkward. It took me about 20 minutes, and then finally got it off, and I was in the cold. I'm in Colorado. I'm out there in the blistering cold, trying to take a boot off for a situation where I felt that I should never have been in. It was awful. So then I get the boot off, and I have to, once the boot's off, I have to take the boot around the corner. I got to walk it about a quarter mile, and then I got to lock the boot up on a sign for them to come get it back later. And if they don't get the boot back in excellent condition, then I do not get $175 back. That's why it's $325. It's $325 because $175 is to make sure their boot is in excellent condition when they get it back. Then 2 weeks later, then I get the $175 back into my bank account, and then the total bill is $150. This whole process is disgusting. It's nasty. It's ugly business. And at Outlook Littleton, they do not have enough parking spots. I would think about at least 10%, 10 to 20% of your reviews is coming from this boot business. If you were to find a different way, your reviews of your whole area, there's a lot of really nice things about this apartment building, that to have this boot company, it ruins it for you guys. And you can see it from these reviews that I've put together. So I would like to see a few more signs, a sign especially in that spot with the 4 parking spots to the left where I was in. I'd like to see a sign that says something about, if you are parked in a residence spot, we will be giving you a boot. A lot of signs in different apartment buildings have a sign that says, hey, if you're parked in the residence spot, your car can possibly get towed. So Joelle of Park Right said, oh, you're lucky you didn't get towed. Well, if you were getting towed, there would be a tow sign up. So if you're getting booted, there should be a boot sign up. That's clear. When you come in, right at the entrance, boom, boom, all your entrances should have a sign that says, hey, if you're not a resident and you're parked in a resident parking spot, you're going to get a boot, and it's $325. And guess what? People aren't going to park in your resident parking spots. So if you really care about your residents and you don't want people parking in your resident parking spots, put those signs up, right? But what makes you look worse when people have their friends and their family come over and get boots on their cars and then write horrible reviews? That makes you look bad too. So that's my advice, is I just want to see a few more signs up. I'd like to see Outlook get rid of this boot company, go find a different way. I'd like to see warnings. I live in an apartment building, and the first couple weeks here, they forgot to give me my parking pass. So I was parking here with no parking pass for a couple weeks. Finally, after about 10 days, there's a sign on my car, and it says, hey, You're parked here without a parking pass. And if you continue to park here without a parking pass, we're going to tow your car. And I went to the office and I got my parking pass. And I've never been here without the parking pass since. You can do warnings. You should have your security. Your security should be doing the warnings. And if somebody's parked there for a second time after getting a warning, then that's when they should get a boot. They shouldn't get a boot the first time. It's bad business. It's just bad for your apartment. If your residents were to take a vote on it, I believe that they would vote for the warning first. And that's just how I feel about it. My name is John Divon, the Foundation. Thank you for taking the time of watching this video. I really do hope that it makes a difference, or it leads to something that will make a difference. I've been sitting with this for a while, and I put so much time and energy into this, and I really hope that I'm able to help someone else from making this production. All right, all the best. Peace out. Goodbye.
Well, you're just going out and doing things. A lot of people have ideas, but that's where it stops.
I do enjoy executing ideas.
They're always the ones that say, I had that idea, I wanted to do that, I had that idea. An idea is nothing. An idea is the easiest part. It's the execution of the idea that's so hard, in my opinion.
Right.
It really is. You know, and then when you're around other creative people and they have an idea, it's so wonderful to say, that's a great idea. I've got that in my pocket.
It's hard to complete them. It's sometimes like reading a really good book.
Yeah.
You get into a really good book, you kind of don't want to read it. You don't want it to be over. It's hard to finish, like you start off ideas and then once you finish it, it's over, but you need to know that there's more ideas, so you need to finish it and get to your next great idea.